So let's start then.
Yeah, go ahead.
This is a project I recently did, exhibited at Arcade Cardiff. If you've been before, you've heard Arcade Cardiff talked about. It's a really good space for showing stuff like this, sort of experimental stuff that maybe isn't finished, at least we worked on. Sort of stuff you can progress on as it's being shown. So it's really good for me, for interactive work, to learn about your own sculptures while it's being shown. So I showed this there. It was on for 2 weeks, and during that time people came in, they experimented with the instruments, and they sort of played around. All sorts of people like electrical engineers, musical students, musicians, artists, kids, old people. Everybody just came in and started playing with everything. It was good. The musicians were particularly good because they taught me how to play my own instruments, which was fun. So I like that. Yeah, so I'm gonna just sort of start. So basically it's 4 instruments that work together as like sort of band. Each instrument takes on a different role in a song. So like they have one that's the main like rhythm. One is based on a drum synthesizer, so it sort of runs on a cycle. You set it up and it just runs and runs. One is a guitar, like a bass guitar, sort of stretched out and controlled by electronic motors and microcontrollers. And the other one, the last one, is like a barrel covered in analog tape, which you read with a tape head reader. And that one is sort of, you record music in space onto analog tape, stick it to that drum and spin it, and you sort of spin at different speeds per hand. So you can get some really like bassy sounds or some really squeaky sounds. And then you will come in and just play off each other's sort of input. So it's a collaborative music piece. I'm just going to play the video while I talk about it. Because the video's sort of explains what I'm talking about, right? So each instrument has controls on it, like variable controls. And it runs off microcontrollers. Each instrument sort of has settings, so you can set time in and tones and stuff like that. Either you can set them and leave them playing, or you can adjust them while you're playing for a more sort of dynamic range of sound. So it's kind of a video there. This is a reel-to-reel player, so that's reel-to-reel tape, and a reel-to-reel tape head, and sort of spinning drum machine sort of thing, operated by hand, so we get different speeds. Synthesizer, so it's a slider which is on skateboard trucks. slide. And so the controls on the side right, and as you can see, and there is the sensor detecting the light like this. Where as far as it goes, as far as it comes towards it, changes its note. It's based on C major scale. Just as standard scale. Yeah, it's funny to take my friend, I don't actually have a camera, and he's very nice to take this sort of footage. It's a skate filmer, he likes to just playing at the moment, everything else is set automatically, so it's just sort of running and running. Or maybe going forward with playing it once. But I can set everything up and I'm just playing the slide. Everything else is just those three buttons are different waves, like triangle waves, square waves, and saw waves. There's knobs there that sort of like rates how fast it's going to skip the sound, it's going to turn on and off. And then the triangle waves is an on-off switch for Gamelan sound. So it's sort of impossible to be tell you about it, just to see it today, really. Just like an instrument for the screen, so really. They run on timers. Also, you can switch them into automatic mode where you just run them by setting them up and follow your hand. So you can just play like this. And then leave that. These are the capos on the end of the slide to change the sounds. It's probably the end of it. So the programs I used were Arduino microcontrollers running on the Aussie synth library, which is a library made by a man called Tim Barras. And it's available online, it's open source, all it is. The synth library is really, really good to use to make music, but it's not so good to use with actual physical stuff, like physical moving things, because it needs to be turned off and on again between movements of, say, motors and stuff, because you can't control motors with the Aussie library, you have to switch it off. Which means the sound has to go off too. So what I did to get around that problem was mainly I separated the sound and the movement like apart, so they would never have to interfere with each other. So for the rotational synthesizer, the drum machine, as I was calling it, that's just a simple normal motor controller and a car wiper motor. And it has a separate control compared to the sound, so they never interfere with each other. And the one which was the guitar table didn't need any synthesizing, so that was fine, that was normal. And the other one was just pure synthesizer, so it was all, instead of, I moved it by hand, so it was kind of nothing else needed. So, yeah, I think that doing this project, using the Aussie library for sound, it was a really good way to learn how to use Arduino programs, I think, because everything you change, you can instantly update, you can tell what you've done, so you're learning quite fast. I think it's one of the best ways to learn Arduino is for sound. Especially for me, I definitely learned a lot doing this. I've been doing Arduino for a few years, but I learned most of it in the last few months doing this. So it's a really, really good way to sort of get to grips with it really fast. It's a bit different to the normal Arduino library though, because it doesn't have, the normal Arduino library has 3 separate paths, it has about 5. You have to sort of program audio control and audio input, and then the void loop is a single line, which is really complicated, and it just keeps running the numbers really. And the numbers always have to add up to, it can have to be 10-bit at the end all the time, otherwise it starts screeching or gets too quiet. So the only difficult part is getting that part to sort of work. It may not be difficult for some people, but I had to, when I started the project, I didn't know anything about it, so I sort of, it was a bit risky for me to do it, but I learned it in the end, and now I understand it, so it's okay. I know it took me about 3 months, so it's not so hard. I haven't put it on hold as well, which is good. With all the sounds I recorded, I made a song as well, like a sort of edited version of all the sounds put together into a sort of song. And he played it on a Cardiff radio station, which I can't pronounce. You mean Camera T maybe? I can't even say it. But
they should call it cardio.
Cardio, yeah, they should. Well, I won't bother with the pronunciation or showing you the name of it, because unless you speak Welsh. And if you live in Cardiff, you may be a bit ready. So, yeah, editing the sounds for this last bit of the I'm going to show this video and that's the end. So, editing the sounds for this video was quite a good way to figure out the programming as well, because I got to make the sounds, then I edited the sounds on the computer, and that was a sort of sketching really, like an audio sketching, for me then to program the sounds back into the machines. So I would make the sound, record it, change it a bit on GarageBand, and then sort of try to get that sound again in the actual machine. Which is a lot faster than programming it, because you don't really know what's going to come out. So it is easier to make it on something you understand. So I don't know, those are 2 ways I think of learning fast. Just outsourcing it a bit to a different program that you already know, or if you are doing a program, sound is a good one, I would say. So I'm going to play this song at the end. It's a slideshow as well, so I'm just black screen. So you can see just very good pictures, I think, of a small idea of what's going on. Now he's doing the restart and then take the plug out. Can I do that? I have one of the synths here, and I have a player for anybody. Sort of operates on light and resistors. Just leave it there. Just pick it up there. Wait, that's all of it really. So thanks. Okay.
Do you want to take any questions?
Oh yeah. Any questions? Yeah.
I really like that. Talks quite a lot about the practicalities of it. And I just wondered if you wanted to say something about the sort of philosophy of your
Well, it's meant to be sort of a catalyst for people to sort of play with each other, I suppose, musically. So people come in and the instruments are meant to be simple, meant to be easily played by anybody, so sort of to level up, even if you're a musician, if you're just a member of the public, you should be able to go in there and make music, these things, and also like sort of play off each other's sound, because all works together. So the sort of philosophy of it and is, I suppose, just an installation that promotes play and creativity between people of any skill level. So that's really all of it. It's just that's what it is. Yeah.
I think what I look at is when I was a kid, if my parents couldn't find me in the house, they'd find me down the garden with an old transistor radio just making absolute noise and annoying the hell out of the neighbours, because I'd just sit there and turning the knob, just listening to the noise that I would make and responding to the noise, and then sort of going backwards and just sitting there on my own, just sort of responding, and then sort of, and I think that's what, it's that physicality that people can have with
Yeah, I played for a few hours
things.
myself. I played for a few hours by myself, doing the invigilation and using the headphones, and I was with that. Just sort of going into a trance. Because it's just sort of buzz, just constant buzz. It's fun. It's fun.
It's that responsive nature, isn't it? The way in which we interact with sounds.
Yeah.
It's quite smart. It's really taking you back to that sort of basic level. What did people that were in the arcade? I know you invited people in to come and interact with it, sort of quite intentionally. What about the sort of passers-by, the shoppers and the kids and
A lot of people did come in, but a lot of them were a bit too intimidated to play them.
they're quite amused by it
Yeah.
there and what you were doing?
Yeah, they purposely just made it quite loud to get outside. But tuned it quite nicely for that sort of part. So people would come in thinking that it was a nice sound, and then they start playing it and the sound's quite horrendous. You can't play it very well once you get used to it. So most people came in and just asked me to play for them, and then they would say that's very nice, and they would leave. Some kids came in and on the last day, they were really good. They didn't really care about what I was saying. They just ignored me and started playing it. So that's what I intended to do. Especially, a good time was when some musicians came in to record some sounds. So they were doing a contemporary music course, part of their course module, and they were playing it in different ways than I had thought of playing it, which was good. So that taught me how to play it a bit better. So even though I made it, I didn't really understand it myself fully. I'm not musical, so sort of up for interpretation with other people. That's what was good about the arcade card space, that I could change parts of it. I could reprogram it a little bit and move stuff around. When people suggested things, like musicians would come in and suggest ways to make it more musical, which was good for me.
Which instrument do you change the most?
turntable was spinning on. Because when I first started off, that was more sort of a bassy sound. And it was kind of a constant drum. So I changed it in the end to that, the one it makes now, which is the sort of high-pitched, echoey sound. So it had an echo in it, but it was sort of dulled because it was the same bassy tones as was normal. So then I changed it to that. So it was a bit more noticeable when you were playing, and then give it more playability then. And also I could adjust that for light levels occasionally because it's dependent on light. So it's kind of a pain. I have to reprogram every time I move it to somewhere else. So I'll probably just put a switch on, maybe the sensitivity switch, and then do the next one to do.
How does the sound generation work? Is it software or
Yeah, it's
is
all
it?
programmed.
So it's pre-programmed.
Yeah, it runs off wavetables that are programmed into the Mozzie library, and it just sort of goes into them and sort of works with them.
Okay.
So it's all synthesized. So there's,
Software synthesized.
yeah, but it's not like a voltage control synthesizer.
Yeah.
Not much circuits to it really. If you look at the circuit there, all there is a bunch of resistors and buttons. The resistors are fault buttons, so there's almost no circuits really. It's all just programmed.
Yeah, it's soft instead of analog synths.
Yeah.
That's cool. So, how long did it take to program? Once you learnt it, how long did it take to program each instrument?
The first one took forever because I didn't know what was going on. I had no idea. It took me about 2 weeks before I could make the first change to the program that was noticeable and decent. 2 weeks of like constantly looking at the program over and over again, going through all the examples and changing them, thinking something's changed, I don't know why. Actually, what's really good about the Mozzie library is the guy who made it, Tim Barris. If you go on the forums, he's quite active on there. He responded to me a few times. And he's the guy who made it, so take his advice. It's quite good. So yeah, he really helped me out. So he's a good guy for that. He's a good guy for making that. So yeah, it's really open source. It's really like everybody in there will add to it. The guy himself is there too. So you just make it and leave it. He's still working on it, so it's still very easy to use, I'd say. So then after I got through the first few problems, I figured out how exactly it made sounds. On the slider one, I went a bit overboard with that. I kept adding stuff to it, like buttons and controls, and I didn't really need to add as much as I did, I don't think. I didn't intend to. I just couldn't stop doing it. It just became fun to keep adding buttons and adding knobs and making them do different things. I put too much on it, on that one. But it's still fun to play. It's just hard to explain to people. It takes like 5 minutes to explain. It's better just to come in and play it. But most people wouldn't play it without explaining it. So it's my own fault. But it does make the best sounds. It's the most fun. So yeah, that one only took, the second one I made only took about 2 weeks to program. The first one took about 2 months. So I don't know what was going on.
Sorry, if you were going to do that exhibition again, or a similar exhibition involving interactive instruments of some kind, you mentioning the barrier that people found coming in from outside and actually wanting to interact with the object.
Yeah.
What sort of methods do you think you would employ to make it less of a barrier for them wanting to stay on the outside and let you do it and have them participate? Or do you think it's a good way of actively encouraging somebody to interact with an object like that, which doesn't involve you going over to them physically, walking in front of it?
I don't know. I couldn't think of any other way to do it. I was there every day and I was just showing people how to use it. Most people think when they go into a show they can't touch stuff, they don't know what to play about, so it's kind of, that barrier's always going to be there. I just basically told them to play it, showed them the controls, and just told them to play it, and I don't think I could do much else than that really.
Well, have you thought about using, instead of using the data that you're using, so people clicking buttons, pressing switches, and moving things physically, Have you ever thought about maybe taking a different subset of data that somebody might create just by being within the space itself?
Yeah.
So,
That would be good, but I wouldn't. I want them to know that they're playing it rather than just walking through it and they play it itself. So they were meant to be instruments, really, so they were meant to be played. So there's no other
You
way.
want that physical content?
Yeah, I don't want them to do anything about people. They need to be set up, but I don't want people to play those instruments. Although it would be good to have them play themselves, and then it would sort of be a sound installation.
well, I was thinking maybe if maybe they came in and they realised they were affecting something, there may be a sense of exploration for them to actually discover what's triggering the change in whatever sound you're creating, and then they would effectively learn how to play it maybe.
Yeah, that may work. That may be a better idea. I don't know. It's a good idea. It's definitely something we'd be interested in doing.
Have you heard of
But it
someone
wasn't
called Ben Challis? Like well, the last time I know he was at the Patreon, and he's done a lot of work with musical instruments. He's worked with a composer, and he was also plays in a lot of Cardiff brass bands and various bands and so on. But Ben created these instruments that were based on distance sensors, and they actually sort of did this project for people that had physical impairments with restricted movements. So it was basically sort of like exaggerated movements that they were making, that they essentially sort of interacted. They didn't physically touch them and control them, but they were just sort of moving around the instruments. They created these sort of noises that they then learned that their physical movements were creating that, and it's sort of that sort of
Yeah.
idea, and it's sort of there's people with autism who that I can just see sort of in terms of like any applications of people that might communicate in a different way, I suppose. But music
Yeah.
festivals and things like that would be a fantastic place for something like this. Like, you know, sort of open air music festivals and that sense of community and sort of doing something together. I could really see that your installation working really well somewhere like that. And you wouldn't have that barrier of a gallery venue, you know, feeling like they can't touch it, that actually if it's something without those sort of no doors, if it's just a sort of open venue, that would be
Yeah.
fantastic, and I think that would work really well.
I'm going to show some of the synthesizers in the Art Carbon Seeking chapter, which is sort of outdoors, festival-ish place.
Oh, that's good.
So maybe people will be able to play in there a bit more freely. Yeah, I was going to make a sort of smaller version of it to take around with me for smaller events as well. A keyboard-sized one, just combining them all to like this sort of shape, this sort of length, something like that, so you can travel with. Because they're
I
quite
think
massive.
the size of what I think actually the fact that they are quite big is actually really quite is a real feature of what you're doing. So people, you know, we're used to things being really small and portable, and music, you know, everything's become really, really small. And in a way we sort of disconnect ourselves from making music because of the way in which we carry music around with us, and the fact that this is sort of quite large scale.
Yeah, I like them to be big because they're sort of like obvious that you're making something move. They're so massive, you can obviously see that you're moving it, and you can move it a little bit. If it's small, it is a bit harder to tell. That I just thought like to take it around, couldn't take it around. You can't keep around the bands. So, but that's the way I wanted it to be. So that's what I did.
I think with any interactive project, the actual aspect of interactivity is a really big problem to try and tackle with any project. Trying to get people to actually inform the work that you're doing without any sort of outside pressure or informing them to do it. I think that's probably the biggest thing with any interactive project is figuring out real a way for people to actually, let's say, change what's actually happening in your work in a natural sort of way. I think it is really, really difficult to try and get that. And I think
Yeah, it is.
yeah, it's just a really it's a really organic problem, just trying to get someone to try and change something which they may never have encountered before and have no prior knowledge of using this instrument or object.
Yeah.
Or
Well, I
computer.
thought about like how people would feel using an instrument in public.
Mm.
It can be quite embarrassing if you rubbish at it. That's why I made them kind of so simple, so that anybody who uses it not feel embarrassed about being crap. Because it's so, you know, you can't really get it wrong. It's all about experimentation, and nobody knows what it's going to sound like because they're not genuine instruments. They're just weird sort of things. You don't know what button's going to do what, so you're not really so intimidated about it sounding bad. So, I mean, that's sort of something I think is a factor of people using interactive activities embarrass themselves in front of everybody else.
Mm.
I think that's a good thing to sort of deal with that a little bit.
It might be worth making some simple graphics to instruct the
yeah.
user in how to use it, like aircraft or
I was
escape
thinking of
things.
doing that, like,
Because
I was planning on changing them, so I made some posters and then they'd be wrong.
yeah, because just each instrument's quite an abstract thing. It's not someone's used to interacting with. So a simple graphic on each instrument instructing people how to use it might encourage people to
Oh yeah,
go in with
it
it.
would be useful, but I didn't want it to be too obvious. I didn't want them to be like products.
Yeah, but you have to tell or inform people that it's a natural usable item. If you look at TechnoQuest, they have lots of instructions
Yeah.
and ways to engage people so they know that it's not just a piece of art which you're not allowed to touch, and to know how to interact with this object because it's not something that they've encountered. So the tape head, people might not realise
No, I didn't.
how it's meant to be used with the so a simple graphic with like the hand,
Well, that would be a good idea for that.
Yeah. because they're quite abstract. And there's a band called Echo City that make musical installations which are children parks. So they're play parks that make sounds as you play in them.
Okay.
And that's a way to interact people with the context of the installation. And they get Arts Council funding to build play parks, council areas,
Yeah.
which is interesting. And there's no
That sounds
band.
interesting.
Yeah, and that's a way to get people to interact.
Yeah, that is a way for interaction to take place, but I want it to be more definitely an instrument rather than a thing that you would just deal with being there.
Well, it's an interaction with a space that makes audio reactions. So,
Yeah.
and yeah, there's a band called Ockley Binage that I'll send you a link to as well, which
Okay.
make fun instruments.
Yeah. A lot of interesting things. Lots of things.
Okay, I think we're gonna wrap it for tonight. Thanks for coming. Thanks for our speakers. So it's gonna be possibly some 3D printing. So here's up for starting.